Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another devotion. This devotion is for Wednesday, April 27th of 2022. We are in Matthew's Gospel. We're in the 12th chapter. We're down to verses 9 to 14 today. We started with chapter 12, verses 1 to 8 yesterday. We had Jesus and his group walking along on a Sabbath day, walking along, and as they came by the grain fields, they were plucking a few heads of grain and rubbing out the kernels of wheat and eating them as they went. And the Pharisees are kind of accosted them that they were working on the Sabbath. Why are you doing this? And Jesus talked at the end of that. It's important that in verse 7 we catch, but if you had known what this means, I desire mercy and not sacrifice, you would not have condemned the guiltless. That mercy and not sacrifice is important with what we have today. That's kind of leading into this next thing. So let's talk about the man with the withered hand, shall we? Verses 9 to 14. He left that place and entered their synagogue. A man was there with a withered hand, and they asked him, "Is it lawful to cure on the Sabbath?" so that they might accuse him. He said to them, "Suppose one of you has only one sheep, and it falls into a pit on the Sabbath. Will you not lay hold of it and lift it out? How much more valuable is a human being than a sheep? So it is lawful to do good on the Sabbath." Then he said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." He stretched it out, and it was restored as sound as the other. But the Pharisees went out and conspired against him, how to destroy him. Okay. Some people think that this man with the withered hand was brought in as a trap, a ruse to get Jesus to slip up and heal somebody on the Sabbath. More than likely, he was already there. People are following Jesus, wanting to be healed, and so if you're following along behind Jesus and it's time to go to the synagogue, well, you'd be in a synagogue, wouldn't you? I think that's probably more likely. It's possible he's brought in. We don't know. We just don't know. But why assign malice to the Pharisees any more than we need to? But at any rate, he's there, and they asked him about, hey, can you, what about healing that dude? Are you going to do that? Don't double dog dare you, kind of a thing. And of course, Jesus uses this analogy about the sheep. Wouldn't you rescue a sheep? Now, the problem with that, of course, is that it was allowed to heal on the Sabbath if it meant to care for someone, if it meant saving their life. If it was not life-threatening, you weren't supposed to administer aid. But you could administer aid if it was life-threatening on the Sabbath. That's, otherwise you're not going to bleed out. You're just dribbling a little blood. We'll let you go till tomorrow, till sunset. But if it's arterial bleeding, we'll put a tourniquet on you. That's kind of how crazy it is. Was. So that's what's going on here. But Jesus says, how much more valuable is a human being? And put out your hand. He doesn't touch the man. He doesn't do anything. He just tells the guy to put out his hand. And he puts out his hand, and it's healed, just like his other hand. Apparently he had something wrong with his hand that was broken or bent, or what have you. Severe. Must not be arthritis, because normally you have arthritis fairly equally, not always, but at any rate, he had something damaged his hand somehow, which wouldn't have been uncommon in working the way it did with things. Just like farming not that long ago, it wasn't uncommon to see farmers missing fingers and hands and arms and such. But at any rate, he doesn't even touch the man. He just heals him. Hold it out and heals it. So, hey, how do you know it was me? It wasn't George over here, Jesus could have said. But at any rate, Jesus has done something good. He's done good on the Sabbath. What's the Pharisees' reaction? They want to kill him. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? Nowadays, all time, it hasn't changed much, because here we got it now. So many times when you're doing something good, somebody comes up against you and wants to stop you. So many times when something's starting to happen, even in the church, something good is moving along, somebody's going to come along and want to submarine it and stop it. They may not literally want to kill you, thank God, but metaphorically they want to stop that. There's jealousy. There's ego involved. They are jealous. They don't want people going out to Jesus, that whole thing about that. And this is troubling. It's very troubling. We do see it. We see it in ministry. We see people submarine ministries because they're jealous of that ministry for whatever reason, or they just don't want to see things change. The Pharisees are doing the same thing we tend to do today. we need to think about it in that light. We need to have some pretty heavy consideration of our actions. It's sad. It's very sad. And but I see it. I see it far too often. That people are like that. We are like that. We can all be like that. I can be like that sometimes. We need to be on guard for that. Do not be like the Pharisees. Don't be bitter and egotistical and afraid of seeing someone else doing something that is being prosperous and is bringing people to God. That should be the only thing. We need to be less, and he needs to be more. We need to take on that John the Baptist attitude. John the Baptist we talked about a few days before. John the Baptist. We need to always have that in our hearts and mind. He is more, we are less. He is more, we are less. And the Pharisees need to adopt that. They need to be more like John the Baptist here. So that's what I've got for you today. So have a very blessed day. Be a blessing to someone today. And hopefully we will see you tomorrow as we can carry on through the 12th chapter of Matthew. We may be changing some things about the frequency of the devotions, just a forewarning. I'm going to be putting that out locally here. But if you here are watching this on YouTube, pretty much in real time, within a day or two of this being posted, feel free to post below how frequently you would like to see the devotions. I would be interested in seeing that, because we may be making a change in the frequency. I've had that suggested to me that we need to back off a little bit on the number of devotions, not doing it quite so frequently. So, at any rate, be that what it may, we'll talk about that later. Have a blessed day. We'll talk to you later. God bless. Bye-bye.